My name is David. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. I had a really good job. I took the civil service test that they had in New York. The police department called me. But the work I did, the police department, drugs and alcohol were heavily used there. At home, I was out drinking alcohol. They say first the person takes the drink, then the drink or the drug takes the person. And that happened to me. The holidays came around and I started using the hard drugs again. So one day I'm in a party. Somebody offered me more drugs and then I blacked out. I ended up in a hospital, didn't know how I got there. They proceeded to tell me the story that I tried to kill myself, that I had a gun to my head and was playing Russian roulette with a gun. I went to the rehab. They told me I had a disease of addiction. I wasn't a bad person. I was just a sick person. I went to like a couple of programs, about a year. I had graduated a year later, and I lived in Stanford. I had a room for rent, and I had a security job, and the house burned down. And I mean, I lost everything. I was homeless again, clean and sober. I had a network of clean people, and they had recommended a shelter that was a clean and sober shelter. After being about there 9 months, I met Joe from Family and Children's Services. David, I got some good news. You've been approved to be in the pilot program, he told me it was, of Family and Children's Services, and that they're gonna help you get an apartment, and they're gonna help you pay for it. And I just couldn't believe it. I was elated, full with gratitude. This program, it's pretty much saved my life, you know, because if I would have still been homeless, I don't know how long being homeless I would have eventually used. I totally feel that way.
My name is Jarrell. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm 17. I play football and basketball and track. Before foster care, I was in a group home, I guess. And before that, I was living with my mom here in Norwalk. I just remember them coming to get me and me going to a group home for like a week and then me leaving. Well, I knew I wasn't going to see my mom a lot no more after that. But I was just thinking like, I just want to be happy, that's it. I've been with my foster mom for like 8 years. When I first met Jackie, she was just nice. She still is nice. But she just took me into her home like I was really one of her kids. I just took them in because they was nice to me, so I'm not gonna like push away a nice family. I almost got kicked out of day school. I just kept like arguing with teachers, walking out the room, leaving school. They kept threatening me to send me to night school, but I didn't want to go to night school. I want to graduate on time with my friends. It's a life skills program. I just go there, I think twice a week. I just sit there and they tell me about stuff I need in life. I just listen. Another thing about the life skills program, they tell you how like if you like when you get mad, stuff not to do and stuff to do. And I took that into consideration because I used to always get mad a lot. If we were out in the streets with no parents, no foster care, we'd be dead broke. And we wouldn't have no place to live, no love, none of that.
I know a lot of parents sometimes take their kids for granted, so I lost a lot of time with them. My name is Melissa. I've got 3 kids. I actually met Drew when I was 15. Everyone always used to say like that we were like soulmates. 6 months after we got married, he had this like pimple basically on his leg, and it had been there for such a long time. We went to the doctor, and within a couple weeks they said it was cancer. He passed away at home, which was probably the hardest thing like that haunted me for a long time. I started dating this guy that turned out to be very mentally, physically abusive. I think I had that fear of just being alone, and I was trying to fill this void that I just couldn't fill. At this point, Drew was about 15 months old. So that night when I went to go put him to bed, I noticed he had like a little burn mark on his finger, so I put, some burn cream on it. I put him to bed. Everything was fine, The next morning I woke up and he had, his whole hand was burned. The skin was gone from his wrist to his fingertips. In the process, I also found out that he had 3 healing fractured ribs. The police were involved, and from that point on, I wasn't allowed to be with my own children. I had kicked Dave out the second I found out that something had happened with my son, that my son was abused. I had like a huge downward spiral. I lost my husband, I lost my kids. I just felt like I lost everything. And when my husband passed, my kids were basically my only reason for living. So when they were gone, I felt like I had nothing. I felt empty, completely empty. I started going to Project Rewards FCA for grief counseling, domestic violence counseling, and drug abuse counseling. And to be honest, in the beginning, I probably could speak for a lot of the girls when they say, they're like, what am I doing here? I don't need this, and after going week after week, eventually somebody says something that just clicks and just makes sense. And it's nice to be in a place where you don't feel alone. You don't feel that you're the only one going through this and that you have people to relate to. Now looking back after years of counseling and I see now, how blind I was to everything. Look, does this one fit? My kids are a constant reminder of my husband every day. I want to get a degree in domestic violence counseling and drug addictions. When they ask me, well, how do you know how I feel? Because you know what, I've been there, I've done that. That's really what I want to do in my life.
I continue with the therapy I need, all the suggestions they give me in family service, all the help they give me. I got 13 years clean recently. I'm really a productive member of society now. I feel like I found my true calling. I help other addicts to stay clean. I've been blessed to be able to get this gift of recovery, and I owe a lot of it to Family and Children's Services and the entire staff.
I talk to my birth mom like every 2 days on the phone, and she called me. She says she's happy I got a scholarship. She's happy I got accepted to college. I love her, and I'm not upset with her because I wouldn't want somebody being upset with me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be the first person in my family to go to college. And that's what I want to do. I just want to go farther and farther to being successful.
Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your kids. Don't give up on life, because you never know what could happen. Yeah.